Hey everyone, it's another edition of Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. It's the last Tuesday of Black History Month. That's February. And of course, we're excited to have you here on the live situation. We got some fun things happening on this evening. And of course, Coach Tony Thompson will be in for a little bit later. But of course, we have a special guest coming up to kind of break down some things with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I sometimes float in and out of the universe, but then, of course, it's always important to make sure that you know kind of what you're talking about. That's why it's always good to bring on folks that know the situation. And of course, I'm always excited about it. But of course, I was in Atlanta this past weekend and I had a blast. I know some folks were hoping to see me. One of my friends that was hoping to see me was Bella. How you doing, Queen Bella? Good to see you. I'm so sorry I missed you while I was hanging around your second hometown. You know, she's a Be More girl, but in Atlanta is where she is doing her thing. And of course, I got a chance to see some folks, but of course, we're going to be doing our thing with Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. And what we're doing, we're getting started right about now. It's Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We are back. We're celebrating Black History Month, of course, myself and Coach Tony. And of course, we want you guys to check us out. A DJ Saved My Life. That is the book that's available. It's my personal memoir of how being a virtual DJ and being a podcaster saved my life during the pandemic. And of course, I give ACs of starting your own podcast. Go ahead and go to purelighthouse.media.com to schedule your free consultation on how to get started with your podcast today. And of course, we have all of the things that happen in the background. I'm uploading videos. I'm starting to do that right now. Go to patreon.com/interludes if you want to enjoy some of the fun things that we do in the background. But of course, putting together a podcast is always a fun time. And of course, let us know that you're there in the chat. Also, our affiliate sponsor is KeySpot. Share, connect, and grow. Join KeySpot as a business partner and register your business free. You could be anywhere in the continuous United States and a couple of places around the world. And KeySpot can point you and you can go ahead and find out more about other businesses in and around the situation. KeySpot. Share, connect, and grow. And of course, go to keyspotapp.com for more information about the app. As I said, it is Black History Month. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we are already this month went by so fast. I don't know about anybody else, but this month for me went by extremely fast. And of course, I have been I do a morning show. I do a couple of morning shows. So I do and list some of the people that have made some significant things that have happened in Black history. But of course, a lot of times it's all about living Black history. And let me see who is in the chat. Of course, I see Mr. Springer. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for that. Please hit the like buttons, subscribe, and share. We always say thank you. To subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. And then, of course, KeySpotApp.com. Thank you so much, Mr. Springer, one of our best moderators here on this platform, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. And of course, Bella's given us some love for Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We love that. And then, of course, we see Blessed and Highly Nerdy is in the building. We'll hear from him a little bit hear from him a little bit later. And of course, happy Black History Month. We are just so excited to get going with that. Well, I need to let you all know where I was over the weekend. I was in, now normally they say hot Atlanta, but it wasn't hot for your girl Val. It was not hot for your girl Val. I left Chicago. It was about 7 or 8 degrees. I got down there. It was 34 degrees. It was warmer, but still cold. And I apologize to every Georgian. Said, you know what? I am so sorry. I brought the cold with me. But on Sunday, this past Sunday, they had their annual Atlanta Black Expo, and it's called I Love Black Businesses. It's a beautiful thing. And of course, I got a chance to hang out with our key spot partner, Cynthia McAllister, who also helped develop our website, purelighthouse.media.com. She had her whole table set up, and as you could see, her logo. I'm totally inspired by her. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And then, of course, we made some connections while we were there. Of course, Cynthia brought her COO to help her out with being there on those 2 days. And then, of course, I got a chance to meet Melissa Anthony. Oh my goodness. Melissa Anthony was a guest twice on the Pull Up Podcast show with myself and Coach Tony. When we wrapped our show last week for the Pull Up Podcast show, she mentioned she was in Atlanta and then said she'd love to come and support the Black Expo. So all of us got a reduced ticket because of Cynthia. We really appreciate her and all of the wonderful directions that she gave us regarding her company. And of course, Melissa got a chance to kind of, I think she's an AKA. So, hey, Bella, we have another AKA for you. There were a lot of Soros, a lot of folks having a good time there. Delta's supporting Delta's, AKA supporting AKAs. And of course, who we'll hear from a little bit later, that's Chris Collier. We got a chance to hang out at the Black Expo as well. And then, of course, I was sitting here going, let's keep doing our thing, what we're doing. And then, of course, I got a chance to meet with, her name is Dr. Enjoy, Nina Joy Mina. And Manina, and I was just really happy to meet her. Now, you know what? Now that is my writing mentor. That is Monique Lisa Johnson. And then that is Dr. Enjoy. Now I have to, thanks so much for that, Mr. Springer. Shout out to Chris Collier as well. And of course, we're going over this, but let me stop sharing for just a second. Do you all see how beautiful this book is? This is the Enjoy Journal. But it's probably Enjoy Journal. I think that's how you pronounce it. I bought this book at the Black Expo, and I'm going to be checking it out. She is, I believe, a clinical psychiatrist, and of course, we're going to be chit-chatting with her on a couple of platforms, probably including this one as well. But I just love the colors. The colors of this is just, these are all of my favorite colors. I'm just saying. That's what I just love it. But anyway, I will continue to talk to you guys about the Black Expo, but I did something. I do a business tips and tricks show. And what we talked about this morning was, is it important for you to do expos, especially if you're in a small business? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, that you must do that. You must go and meet the people. I participated in speed networking while I was there. So I pitched my business. I had the Pull Up Podcast show shirt on. That was fun to do that, have the shirt on. And then, of course, we just had a good time talking and mingling and doing what we do. But also, I got a chance to have a photo shoot. This was kind of important. Now, do you all recognize a young lady that's in these? You might not recognize her. Daniel was my photographer on Friday. That's the reason why I went to Atlanta to do some photography for my Val The Voice brand. And so I wore a red outfit and then a very kind of corporate thing, a white situation and stripes and with black slacks. But yes, I had a wonderful makeup artist, and I did my own hair. I don't normally wear my hair like that because that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So we don't do that we don't do that hairstyle too often. But we were at a beautiful studio just outside of Buckhead in Atlanta, and of course we did some videos and some other things. That's Beverly Tate. I got a chance to have brunch with her on Saturday. She took me to this place, Buttermilk, not too far away from where I was staying in Buckhead, and we had a good time having a chit chat. And then later on in that evening, I got a chance to see my writing mentor again, Monique Lee. So we got a chance. I think she's in Alpharetta, Georgia. So I got a chance to float there and get some good eats. We were in the Avalon Hotel, but the name of this restaurant, the name is escaping me. So I really had a good time doing what we do there. So of course, there you go with that. But I don't know. Did you guys get a chance to see the NAACP Image Awards? I did. I actually watched clips of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw a couple of things, but not the whole thing. Oh my goodness. But of course, I got a chance to see who won. And of course, there were some big winners. And of course, we had Dion Cole from Chicago. This is his, I believe, his second time hosting the NAACP Image Awards. I mean, I'm telling you, sometimes it can be a tough crowd, but of course it is a fun time. Now I'm gonna go and see who were all of the winners, some of the winners, but not all of them, but some of the people that were, I want to say, big winners for the NAACP Awards. Keke Palmer, Beyonce, Kendrick Lamar, and a couple of others. They were the ones that did, I want to say, they won big. Now, Keke Palmer was one who won for Entertainer of the Year. That was a little shocking to me. And then, of course, last week we talked about the Wayans family receiving an award, a special honorary award, which was really wonderful. Dave Chappelle received a President's Award. He had a wonderful acceptance speech stating that we have a lot of work to do and that the NAACP is needed now more than ever. Of course, I think Beyonce's Cowboy Carter won a Grammy, but it also won some music prior to the televised ceremony. So she won some awards for Cowboy Carter, which is great. And of course, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us it won 5 Grammys, but it also won some awards for the Image Awards as well. And of course, a lot of people were asking why people did not see Keenan Ivory Wayans, even though Sean was missing and Keenan Ivory Wayans was missing from the awards. I was wondering what happened to them, but it was Damon and oh good gracious, not Sean, Marlon and Damon were the main spokesmen for the Wayans getting their award. Keke Palmer, Entertainer of the Year. Congratulations to her. She kind of gave a wink and a nod to Cynthia Erivo, who all of these award shows she's going to celebrate Wicked. She hasn't picked up an award. She hasn't picked up an award for any of the award shows that's been happening. And I'm a little sad to see that, but you know what? It's okay. She's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. But the other big winner there, of course, there was also another honorary award that went to former Vice President Kamala Harris. I mean, she was there and spoke to the crowd, which was really, really wonderful. I'm actually happy to see that she got the Chairman's Award. And of course, and another thing, Dave Chappelle, he becomes the first comedian to receive the President's Award at the NAACP Awards, which is really good. Michael Rainey Jr., we reviewed Power Book 2, Ghosts. We reviewed that show, and he won Outstanding Actor. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, okay, this is amazing that's happened. Okay, well, and of course, I was really hoping that it was going to be either Cynthia Erivo was going to win, or I thought Kendrick Lamar, and I think Coach Tony predicted that it was going to be Kendrick Lamar for Entertainer of the Year, but it ended up being Keke Palmer, which is interesting. And of course, we reviewed 688. We did it. We did it. We did it. Oh my goodness! I don't know if you guys. We did a special Christmas celebration, Christmas episode for that. And of course, thank you so much, Mr. Springer. The big winner, 688, was for best film. And I like that when we review stuff, we're able to do our thing and that celebrate. I've always said that Tyler Perry, this particular film, this was one of his best films to date. He stayed true to the history of the film. And then, of course, Kerry Washington, I think she won for Best Actress. She won an NAACP Image Award for Best Actress for 688. And then, of course, it was just really good to see all of the winners, and of course, the women accepting for on behalf of this, because I think Tyler was not available because he is always working. That's what he loves to do, and that's what he does. I mean, get down. According to Billboard, another couple of R&B song residuals, that was Chris Brown. And then here we go, outstanding male artist and with music also went to Chris as well. And then, of course, Doechii won for Best New Artist. She performed well on the Grammys just 2 weeks prior. And then, of course, a lot of these things ended up being, I want to say, these were awards that ended up winning before the show came out. And then, of course, I'm really happy to say that outstanding talk show host, that I think that ended up going to, if I'm looking at this correctly, I'm gonna take a look over here. I think that ended up going to Jennifer Hudson's show won outstanding talk series, and congratulations to that. And of course, I'm very happy Jamie Foxx won for What Had Happened was on his Netflix special, which was really wonderful. And then, of course, Method Man. He won Best Supporting Actor in a Drama for the series Power Book 2 Ghosts. Because keep in mind, the series unfortunately ended on last year, and so this was his time getting nominated. I'm glad this time that he ended up winning, which was really, really good. OMG, OMG. Now, the thing that I wanted to pivot to and talk about it is that one of the winners of the Image Award was this phenomenal journalist named Joy Reid. Ever so often, I would drop in and watch her show on MSNBC just to get a perspective on what's been happening in politics. Now, keep in mind, here on Talk on Tuesdays, we really rarely ever do politics. I don't like doing politics at all. But this story broke over the weekend, and I was a little disturbed to hear that Joy was found out through media, either social media or outside of her organization, that she and her staff was being replaced, or she was being let go. And the weird thing is, the NAACP Awards was Saturday, and she found out she was being let go the following day on Sunday. That to me makes no sense. She was the winner for Outstanding News Information Series or Special. And then, of course, and I don't understand this dismissal. I don't get it. However, I was doing a couple of research, and I found out after her coverage of Kamala Harris, and unfortunately, when Kamala Harris lost the presidential election, the ratings for her show, The Readout, went down during December and I guess in January. But they don't have a lot of Black anchors over at MSNBC. So I say Joy, she got on yesterday and did a farewell show. donning her favorite colors, which is lavender and purple. She highlighted everyone that's worked on the show. And here's the thing, all of her people that worked with her are being let go as well. But MSNBC is allowing them to reapply for either a job somewhere else in the company. Now, with being a content creator, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute. Joy, you've built a great audience, people that know, like, and trust you. Come on over here to YouTube. Come on over here and create your own platform. Don Lemon's doing real good. He defended her earlier. I think, oh, good grace. Megyn Kelly said something very derogatory about Joy on Twitter. And he responded like, So here's the thing. When you get dismissed like that, there's no warning, there's no heads up that we're transitioning you to something else. You create your own. And we would love to have Joy. We would love to have you on and talk about your time there, but then moreover to talk about how many content creators of color can unite and support you. I'm so sad to hear that you are not there anymore. But here's the thing: when God closes a door, He opens another one. And like I said, it made me sad. I was thinking, I can't turn to MSNBC and see her again. What God has for us, we should not have to trip on that. And then, of course, what is Blessed High? MSNBC does not treat Black women well over there. Remember what happened to Melissa Harris Perry? Yes, I do. Unfortunately. Yes. It was good to have representation there. That's what I'm definitely going to say about that. And thank you, Bella. She agrees with me. It's just hurtful. We want our voices heard, but here's the thing: you can create your own platform. You don't have to stay there. And you didn't stay there because they said good riddance. I think, this is what happened. This is what triggered Don Lemon for being so angry. It was reported that our president celebrated her dismissal. And so Megyn Kelly said something very derogatory and Don went after her. He can do that because he has his own platform. Roland Martin can go after folks and defend Joy because he has his own platform. So content creators of color, let's come together. Let's unite and create our own platforms. Because unfortunately, a lot of I want to call it corporate heads, we don't know what happened. People say that the ratings went down on her show and that's why it was canceled. They're going to be bringing in a multi-host show. And I believe that, I don't know. And thank you so much for putting that article in the room chat. Kevin, thank you so very much for that. I believe it was stated MSNBC plans to replace Reed and they're going to do a trio of hosts. They're going to have the former advisor, Simone Sanders Townsend, former Republican National Committee Chair Michael Steele, and Alicia Mendez, the daughter of former New Jersey Senator Bob Mendez. The three currently host The Weekend, a show created by the new MSNBC president, Rebecca Cutler. So a lot of people are looking at the new president over at MSNBC, and they're saying that, this was done in poor taste. I think what was done in more poor taste was that it was leaked out that Joy was losing her job and she wasn't given the respect of a sit down by MSNBC to say, we're going to be pivoting and going in this direction. I get that, but I just feel like you guys should have done so. She appeared on another show, a streaming show on a little bit earlier today, or I think it was last night. And she got emotional talking about her experience. She had been there about 5 years on MSNBC. And And I think Blessed and Highly Favored, he says that it's the new administration. It's the reason why Joe and Mika went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. So I'm so sorry that that happened to Joy. I really really wish that they would bring her back, and like I said, but they're not, I guess. So their decision is final. I see Coach Tony is in the building. Can you hear me? You gave me a thumbs up. I see he has his Black History Month shirt
Hey,
on. Yeah, I
see,
love it. I love it. There you go.
see what it
Black
says?
history, honoring the past, inspiring the future. Aha.
That's what I
I
do, Val.
like
That's
it.
what I do. Coach Tony
I
love the
like it.
kids.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. Let me go up here and
How you doing
give you
tonight?
some. You know what? I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm gonna go ahead and put your slide up here, Coach Tony. Good to see you. Just having a little conversation about Joy Reid, unfortunately losing her job over at MSNBC and how she was
I saw
told.
that.
Yeah, which was a little jacked up. I would love to get your opinion on it before we move on to the next situation, because I was a little disturbed to hear about it. What had happened is that the previous day on Saturday she won an NAACP Image Award for an outstanding news program, and then the following day it leaks out that her show was being canceled, and all of the people that work around her were losing their jobs. Coach, like, how do you handle something like that?
Well, the only thing that I could look at or see, Val, is that this kind of got overshadowed with Lester Holt retiring. And that's the only thing that kind of helped that situation out. And
Hmm.
why she lost it, I have no idea. I mean, because I understand what the 47th is doing in Washington and cleaning house on these certain departments, but news anchors, oh, come on. I mean, news anchors is like, that's how we get the news out. But again, when it comes to DC, it's fake news, right? So the less reporters you got, the less fake news you can get. And to see someone like that, which is a veteran, you got to go back, Val. She was very instrumental in the Obama presidency when she was having her CNN talks. She was very instrumental on the things that she spoke about when Kamala Harris was coming up. And it was just a matter of time. They put Don Lemon out, right? They've changed the right wing. They try to do everything they're trying to do, but it's crazy. And to see her go, she was like the cornerstone for us in DC for the political conversation.
Right. And so I would literally drop in. I loved her coverage of the presidential election that were happening. And like I said, we don't do politics too much here on Talk on Tuesdays, but because she's a woman of color, she consistently made history as being one of
Yep.
the few women of color at MSNBC. We love and celebrate her. And what I was saying before you came was that, Joy, come on over. Uh, Don Lennon, Roland Martin, a lot of folks who were part of the corporate news reporting they do what we do, Coach Tony.
Yep.
They have their own YouTube
Podcast.
channel. They have their own platforms on Instagram and other places. And I think Joy will thrive on YouTube. She has a very huge following, and she's going to be fine. She did her last
Yeah,
show
because you get the chance to say it
today,
like
right
on the
there.
podcast and on the if you do podcasts and HBO and Showtime, you can say it like a TI is.
Hmm. And Lester Holt, we mentioned that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. He got part of his start here in Chicago on
Yep,
WBBM, but
yep.
then of course he also did things over, I think, CBS affiliate in New
Yep.
York. But he's
Hmm.
stepping down, and but the thing of it is that he is going to work, I think, until June, and then he steps down. It's like
Yep.
they gave him or he took where they said, okay, you're gonna transition out, and this will be the transition out, and he's going to continue being the host on Dateline. But they did not do the same thing with Joy
Because
and
I think
Why?
me personally, when
Hmm.
you look at it, Val, I think again with the 47 cleaning house, basically Elon Musk is running DC. Excuse me. I think you look across the board at everyone that's won against me or said something against me. He's continuing to get in every market, fake news, fake newspapers, fake news drama series, whatever it is. It's just a matter of time, and he's going to try to mess with Stephen Colbert and the late night shows, but they're comedians and they got lawyers, and probably not going to happen. And when you see Lester Hope get knocked out and step down, I just think that the brother was a Republican at one time, bless his heart, even though he was a Chicagoan. And then he went with Bernie Sanders and became an independent because he didn't like anything that Trump stood for. So I think overall, it's just a matter of time to he to get downstairs and see what's going on. And he was next on the chopping board. And I think that she became a pawn in that same scenario.
Yeah. And this was something that this is what Chris was saying. He said that it's the new administration, and it's why Joe and Malika, Micah, went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. Did not know that. Bella says, "God bless Lester Holt. I really liked how he took over for Brian Williams. He was, disgraced for whatever he did, and they brought on
Yep.
Lester Holt to take over NBC Nightly News. But a lot of shakeups happening. But you know what? It's okay. And Joy, come
And he
on
already got a
over.
pink
Come
toe.
on over.
See, the
What happened?
difference is with Brian Williams, he tried to get a pink toe while he was on TV. See, Lester brought his pink toe to the party. So you can't you didn't have to give him one, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, we can say anything you want, talk the way you want. But I had an interesting conversation with a guy today. I can't
Hmm.
what is his name? Stewart. Good guy
Okay.
today. And I'm hoping he's listening because I gave him the content to get on the podcast. But we talked about some old civil rights down south Alabama, 19 late 60s, 70s stuff. And he laughed. And I met him in
Okay.
the parking lot. We talked. And he said, "Man, it's amazing that," he said, "I'm a Jew and you're African American, but we were able to see the same thing in the state of Alabama, roughly the same time, give or take 8, 9, 10 years apart. And we got friends that never seen them in their life and was like amazing." We were talking about, unfortunately, the Ku Klux Klan and some things they were doing. Well, fast forward, we talk about that. They just not wearing hats no more. But we're still getting stuck behind certain parties and doing certain things. I mean, who would ever thought that Roland Martin would have got his bill snatched from him, and see what's going on? I actually have some brothers that I talked to in my golf group told me they don't like Roland Martin. Why? I mean, the brothers all pro brother. If you talking about you being pro brother, you can't get no pro brother than that. Then they talking about Al Sharpton. Al got that perm, baby. Al still wearing that 1975. Go to sit in the chair, blazer. Hey, speak it to the back and don't come back. And Al gonna give it to you like it is. I like the big Al, but I still like little Al too. You know what I'm saying? But when you looking at Lester Holt and what's going on with her, I think it was just Lester Holt was told, listen, you at least was a Republican, right? And you changed to an independent. We're not going to embarrass you. We're going to give you an opportunity to step aside, and you already were doing Dateline, so we still want to pay you. You just move over that platform, so you're not talking to nobody because you're talking about murders and whatever. But with her, you're doing too much political satire. We got to get you gone.
So, and like I said, she's transitioning. She's gone. It's gonna be okay. And so I feel like she's gonna be fine. As much as I'm saddened that she's not gonna be here, but not gonna be a part of the MSNBC family. She's gonna be fine, and Lester's gonna be fine, and of course we are gonna be right back after these messages. Here we go. Woo woo.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
We are back. We are back with Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. We're back, and we're excited that you guys are here joining us. Of course, over the weekend, I was talking about being in Atlanta, having a good time,
ATL,
and doing
peace up,
a
A-Town down.
oh my gosh. But of course, we review movies and TV series here all the time. We have a good time doing that. And of course, Coach Tony and I, we get a chance to let folks know, like we did with the 688, that got the award for best film at the NAACP Image Awards. And so
Deservedly so.
Tyler, deservingly so. And of course, we've reviewed a couple of series. Of course, we love music. So the Luther Vandross documentary, we had a good time reviewing that. But now we are a little out of our league. When I say league,
Uh-oh.
I'm a fan of superhero films. I am.
Yep.
I love there's things I love in the DC universe, and there's things I like in the Marvel universe. They call it the MCU. I didn't realize that was such a big deal, Coach Tony. If you were to talk about now, hopefully you know the difference between DC and Marvel. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite superhero in the DC realm of things? That would be
Ooh.
Superman, Batman, those guys. That's DC. We're not doing Marvel, we're doing DC.
Oh, I got you. Trust me. I'm up on my game. And I'm gonna tell you something. I was talking about what you and I were mentioning earlier, and my son was like, "Oh man, that's fascinating. Oh, hey, let me know about that, Dad." See, the kids are up on. Today, you and I were talking. I was like, "Nah," and they were like, "Man, the kid, man, hey, we all up on that. Let me know." So the kids are still on it. I am a DC guy all
Okay.
the way. Love Marvel, but I'm a DC guy because I thought DC had all the superheroes that the women love. You know what I'm saying? They had Superman, Batman, come on, Spider-Man. They had it all. And out of that DC side of the house, as a villain, I love none other than the Joker because I thought it
The
was
Joker.
wonderful. And then as a superhero, I was a Spidey fan because I was amazed because Spider-Man was in the shy. No pun intended, Superman, Batman out, but Spider-Man was in the shy. Y'all went to New York. Spidey was in the shy.
I think Spider-Man is with MCU, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not.
Well, if
I'm
it
not
is,
100% sure.
I'm still a fan of his because he was in the shy. He was on the L. He was riding downtown. He was chilling. You know what I'm saying? But I just love, and you and I talked about this the other night. I love the Spider-Man series because I like how they did it in the last episode. They were bringing the whole episode to a close, which is great because you can't continue this unless you Fast and Furious, and you're gonna have Fast and Furious number 99 coming up soon. But with that, they brought all the past Spideys out that had saved the universe. That was like ridiculous. And they all had to come together and all of them had to bring their spider senses to save the world. That was just dope. Dope, dope, dope.
I know. And like I said, it of course this is blessed and highly favored of Highly Nerd. He says they filmed in the shy for the first Spider-Man and with Tobey Maguire.
Right.
And I guess they probably changed it up, whatever. But here's the thing. We got a brand new film in the MCU universe. And so
Okay,
I
talk
wanted
to
to
me.
make sure. What happened?
I said, talk to me.
Yeah, so we had a new thing. So I wanted to bring on a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. We usually have these wonderful, fun conversations, and we're supposed to be starting I want to call it a new podcast called Blessed and Highly nerdy. I'm the nerd. He's the nerdy one, and I'm the one that's doing the blessed situation. But of course, we want to go ahead and welcome Chris Collier to the stage. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hello,
Hey.
everyone. I should add onto that tag. You're the Christian, I'm the agnostic, but we're both nerds. To paraphrase the lovely. I do not want to do this tonight. To paraphrase someone else who said that first, I'm sure someone else is going to quote me to figure out who that is, but if I remember it, I'll put it in the chat. But yes, thank you very much for having me here. I look forward to having this discussion about this film.
Man, that's awesome.
Right. So, of all of the wonderful, I want to call it is Anthony Mackie who has taken on the role of America. Now, here's my question to Tony: did you see the Captain America that had Chris Evans when he originated the role? I believe back in 2014.
Yep, I saw some of that.
You saw Chris Evans do that, and I think I rewatched. I rewatched.
Because to me, you got to go watch the previous show to get to the new show. Like we were talking about with Den of Thieves. I had to go back and rewatch. I'm like, damn, I forgot. Oh man, I didn't remember that. So you had to go back and watch the Captain America to get to Captain America. You know, if you just, especially when they bring sequels so many years apart, it'd be different if it was a few years like with Friday. We know that's a classic, but Q was smart. He did it on a 2 to 3 year time period. You still had it fresh in your brain. But the Marvel series, it's kind of spread out. So you kind of got to go back to remember the characters and what happened at the end of the show and so forth and so on.
And the MCU is very famous for doing, they do like a preview clip at the end, and then at the very end of the credits, like people don't leave because you know if you leave, you're gonna miss out on the message.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking, oh my goodness, but Chris, I was in Atlanta. I don't know how I did it, Coach Tony, but I squares in to see this film, and I was really interested in seeing it. It came out February 14th on Love Day. It's probably why it's got a red background there. We get introduced to some I want to call it new characters, but then the characters that's been around in the MCU for a while. Now, answer this question for me, Chris. When did the Falcon character of Mackie first come on into the MCU? When did he show up? Was it Captain America, Winter Soldier, or was it a little bit before then?
That would have been Winter Soldier in 2014.
Okay, so Tony, I feel totally educated right now because I rewatched that movie yesterday. I rewatched Captain America, and I saw their bond. He is a former soldier and was very intelligent with knowing how to do wings. In other words, mechanical. What's kind of the Falcon's background, Chris? If you could break that down for us.
In the comics or in the MCU movies?
In the movies. Let's not do the comics because I ain't read none of the comics. Stick with the movies.
It's the comic history of the Falcon brings along a lot of stereotypes. I don't think I want to bring that up now, but yeah, it did some twists and turns. But in the fact of the MCU, he was introduced as a counselor who lost his paratrooper partner in a training accident, and after that, he just decided to become a counselor to help other vets get over their PTSD, reacclimating themselves back from war, and quite frankly, he just ran into Steve while they were jogging around the Washington Monument.
That's the scene.
Oh yeah, so that's where
who did Harrison Ford play?
No, we're not there. We're not there yet. We're in 2014, establishing Anthony at the beginning. I keep going. I'm so sorry, Chris.
So because of that, he gets recruited into stopping Bucky from, well, even after he assassinated T'Challa's dad. So he's recruited in order to stop. And I'm skipping around, of course, because between Winter Soldier and Civil War, he was introduced. There was some conflict. He was instrumental in stopping Bucky the first time. He also was in some instance more integral into the whole system as around Captain America Civil War. As a matter of fact, he fell on Cap's side during that particular war. Cap wanted to not have to sign up heroes because of the Sokovia Accords, which were due to the fact of what went down in Avengers Age of Ultron, which came out in 2015. So I say this to a lot of people. I know I just said a lot of lore in that particular description and even confused myself slightly. But there are a lot of, and I don't want your listeners to be afraid of just going into this movie cold. There are a lot of YouTube commentators who do massive recaps on all of these particular films before they come out. So
which is very helpful. That's very helpful for someone like me. And the one thing that I always complimented what the MCU universe would do is that there would be some character or something that would explain exactly what's happened. And Coach Tony, now we talked about that, how much we love Black Panther, but the kind of the prequel, or not prequel, but kind of the movie that kind of paired with the first Black Panther was Captain America Civil War.
Right.
Yeah, we got introduced to Chadwick's character in that particular film, but then also Mackie was there. Sam Wilson is the character's name for the Falcon. And here's the thing. Was it Infinity War, the Avengers, when literally Chris Evans, Captain America, literally just handed the shield over to Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie's character?
Yes and no. So what happened is that Steve went back in time to drop off the Infinity Stones after they had beat Thanos. So that was his job, was to put all the stones in the right place. Otherwise, the time loop would have been broken. So so he shows up several years later to give Mackie the shield. And the issue is, in my opinion, is that all of the angst between Isaiah and Sam, it goes more into depth in the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which came out in 2021. So all of the backstory in that, within that, and also the reason for the large head and hand that's in the Pacific Ocean that the Japanese are fighting over, and they've already gone ahead and discovered adamantium. That's attached to another movie, which is the Eternals, which you may have saw or you may have not saw.
I didn't see it, and that was because I'm drawn to the actors. So Brian Tyree Henry, Coach Tony, was in the Eternals, and then it was Angelina Jolie and a few other people. So I was like, I'd be interested in seeing this. Angelina Jolie was in it. So here's the thing. If you have not seen the series on Disney Plus called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I feel like when Chris and I were talking on Sunday about this, he says there's a lot of callbacks in the current one, Captain America Brave New World. Yeah, it goes back to this series, and I think the number one reason why the Mouse bought Marvel, because they wanted to be able to have all the titles and just make the films and put them out there. Disney Plus was created, so of course, if we wanted to really expand a storyline, we could really go deep into it, and then you make a movie, but you could do a series of 8 to 10 episodes. But here's the thing, Chris, did this series do well with Disney Plus or no?
Right. Here's the thing. It did well, but to be fair, it came after two very other successful series, as well as the fact that this was released during kind of sort of we were still sort of in the pandemic, so you had a you had a captive audience at that particular time. So with that in mind, that's the reason why they greenlit the Captain America 4 movie, which this turned into something else entirely, because it had a totally different title in the beginning, Captain America New World Order, but because of the world we live in right now, they had to make adjustments and the changes in that, because New World Order is always attached to some conspiracy theories, some nefarious thing. So they wanted to go ahead and make adjustments in that. The original way this movie was filmed is supposed to be an undercover political thriller. Unfortunately, test audiences found that very boring. They found the film lacked in action. And this was also during the time 2 other things happened. One, the Israeli-Palestine conflict went up a notch. 2, you had both the writers and the actors strike. And 3, Bob Iger had to come out of retirement and take over Disney because he wanted to make sure that he shortened. There was a lot of things that was going on in Disney that were the previous administration before Iger came back. It ruined a lot of things, like streaming, of course. They had a lot of shows that had promise, but they weren't in the incubator for too long. So they were fine, but they weren't the quality that Disney was used to. So that's why they brought back Iger, and Iger made a mandate that they can only go ahead and release 2 to 3 films a year then. And then they scaled back tremendously on all of the productions that they have for Disney and Disney Plus. Again, I'm sorry, I got long-winded, but there's a lot of show movement, but for the reason why this film was not as greatly promoted as other films in its genre.
And I think I'm gonna add one. I'm gonna add number 4, and number 4 during the pandemic as well, Chris, is that people got home. You put spot on. They were bored as hell, trying to figure out fighting at home with a significant other. Some that used to be out on the road, they got 2 or 3 significant others, had to figure out which significant other they're gonna hang out with. So now they stuck in the crib, like, damn, I gotta be over here with this one. She don't even like what I watch. You know what I'm saying? So now the thing that hit them, and it was the most watched of in the universe, was Heist. And when Heist hit Netflix, the whole series of Heist, I think when the Captain America series came out at the same time, people were so hooked on Heist, and Netflix was growing at that time, if you remember, and they were throwing everything at the wall, trying to get people to, hey, you're at home, watch this, watch that, check this out, check that out. And I think that was one of the big boomerangs, because I think Heist took a lot of people away from watching this particular show or this movie. And I think that's the reason why they didn't do so well, because we couldn't go to the theaters, and you then had to be at home to kind of figure things out.
But Coach Tony, I thank you very much for bringing up that point. But to piggyback on that point, also the biggest thing on Netflix at that particular time was Tiger King.
Yeah, so I remember Tiger. Yes,
so everybody was in deep on Tiger King. So the fact that small little show, like, again, the show was fine, but the problem is that show had a lot of callbacks, as well as the first Incredible Hulk within this particular film. So you don't know the main villain that came from the Incredible Hulk. The reason why Sam keeps asking about whether or not he should take the serum or not, that was answered in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The main villain, Thunderbolt Ross, he was also in 2 other movies, actually played by another actor. And then when that actor passed, they had to rewrite the script in that format. But then Harrison Ford decided that he wanted to, get his paycheck, and decided to just give them a call and say, yeah, I'd like to be in the Marvel Universe. So then they said, okay, fine. So they gave him that, and then they had to rewrite that again. They put it in front of test audiences. It didn't film well. So they had to do 22 days worth of reshoots, which is why when you look at the film, it seems quite disjointed, because they had one in Act 1, they had one story they were trying to tell. Act 2, that's when they had the changes they had to make, and then Act 3 was the real cherry on top of the cake that they were trying to go ahead and get the hammer on. Like, if they can just keep people held for that last 10 minutes where Ross fights the seemingly humanoid Anthony Mackie as Captain America, then
they got everything.
He's in. So
right. Let me ask you a question, Chris.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. So to the average American, right, or the average person, I don't even care about America, worldwide, and you just broke it down, how they had to put these Act 1, 2, 3, and 4. To the average person who may or may not be a Marvel fan, and they're watching this movie, will they pick up on what you just mentioned, where the breaks were at, where the mistakes were made, where the movie had to bag itself up, put this in to make sure it tied in with such and such? The average person has never even seen one of the series. Said, man, you know something? I like Anthony Mackie. I'm going to watch this Marvel. And they decide to cut it on and watch that. Will they feel pulled into the show, scene by scene, or will they watch it and say, something doesn't seem right?
I'm going to be honest with you. I had a second watching of that early this morning, and I knew the lore, so I knew where to watch where the breaks were.
Right.
If I went at it just with fresh eyes and whatnot, and didn't know how the movie industry worked, specifically behind the scenes that I know about this particular film, then it comes off as a TV movie rather than a big spectacle movie that's being done now. So
it's basically where the commercial should be breaking at.
Right, exactly. And I can give you another show which falls in this MCU, which you can seriously tell that it was filmed during COVID, and that was Secret Invasion with Sam Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. And the other film that people should watch if they want to kind of understand some things that are happening in the current Captain America Brave New World is this film. This is The Eternals. It didn't do well at the box office. This is the one, Coach, that stars Angelina Jolie and Brian Tyree Henry. And so I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you keep making the connections? Because I feel like this, for Black superheroes, there's not that many that's in the MCU universe. There really isn't. And I think what I was so pleased with was I love the introduction to Black Panther and Captain America Civil War, because you had Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa coming in and trying to understand what's happening, and the Civil War was happening among the who would end up now becoming the Avengers. They were fighting it because they didn't know who was on what side or whatever. And then by the time you got to Black Panther, because it was, I think, almost a 2-year situation, it was released February 2018. And I don't know if you remember this, Chris and Tony, but we bought out movie theaters. We had on African garb. It was a whole celebration of this. And I'm trying to figure out, why wasn't it this kind of fanfare? Is it because of the times that we live in? 2025 is totally different from 2018. Ironically, the same president, Trump, was president in 2018 like he is now, but is it because, I don't know. I'm searching for an answer, because I did not feel the hype and excitement of Anthony Mackie in this role like I did with Chadwick Boseman back in 2018 with Black Panther. And not that I'm trying to compare these two actors, but I think Anthony Mackie is a great actor. But maybe you, Chris, and Tony can answer. Like,
Chris, I'm gonna let you take that first, buddy.
Okay. I can give you two solid reasons right now. Black Panther was wrapped in Afro futuristic stuff, while Anthony Mackie's character is wrapped in the American flag, which comes with a whole bunch of other issues. And again, they discussed that in Act 1, where where Anthony Mackie
Carl
and
Lumbly.
Carl Lumbly was sitting in his office discussing about the fact of, well, when you put on that uniform, you're not just it says it in the name, you're Captain America. Now, if you look at the background, you'll see all of the Black athletes who were celebrated by Black America but shunned by white America because they were being far too progressive. That's Jack Johnson. Kareem was in the background, and I believe, and then shout out to Chadwick Boseman. I believe
Muhammad Ali.
No, yeah, Muhammad Ali, yes, was also in the background. So I remember those three specifically. We're in the background. So these were very progressive men. So it was kind of like a schism. Like, I understand on why they had to add that scene in there and why they had to bring in some context in order to alert people of both Isaiah and Sam's characters without having to do the major expedition they had to do in Act 3 when they brought on Giancarlo, where basically he was just there to shoot at Anthony Mackie, to go ahead and tell him who's the villain, and then be out.
I'm telling you, Coach Tony, we talked about this on Sunday, me and Chris. Such a waste of Esposito. He's such an excellent actor. You remember him from Spike Lee films, Mo Better Blues, Do the Right Thing, Good Grace, School Days. Like and of course he was getting ready to quit acting, and then they brought him in with Breaking Bad, and he has been getting some great roles ever since. But Chris, he replaced an actor for this role in Captain America, right? He replaced an actor,
he replaced Seth Rollins, the wrestler, that he had already went ahead and shot most of his scenes. But then again, it fell under that same instance of they shot it just regular. They shot it regular within the COVID confines. They put it in front of audiences. Audiences hated it, and then they had to go ahead and do total reshoots on that. Unfortunately, the writer's strike hit first, so they still had to film around stuff. But then people had to do a lot of, which some of these actors were not good at ad-libbing. So because the writers themselves couldn't be on set to do touch-ups. So
because they were on strike.
Right.
They were on strike.
They said, fine, we'll go ahead and just boot this down for later. We'll have a new release date. Then the actor strike hit. So they couldn't go ahead and do reshoots then. So then they had to push it down the line and whatnot. That's why you could see the dates and all the promotional materials like this was supposed to have been out in 2023, 2024. But because of all the reshoots and all of the outward other things that happen, even one of the major characters they have in there, the small little wayfish girl from Israel, she was a totally different character, but they had to redo that. They had to redo all of her scenes because of the fact of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that was going on. And try as they might, Marvel needs this movie to make as much money as possible. This movie was the first in a long time that got released in China, and they need that money, and they don't want to offend the Chinese. They don't want to offend. Right. They don't want to offend any other, and they don't want to offend any other entity except the Wakandans. But I can get it.
Right, but like I said, you
got a problem with the Wakandans.
Exactly, you were spot on. And what I was going to say on my point was, me and Val talked about it the other day, and you were spot on. When you're looking at the Black Panther, you carried a sense of the United States. You got to look at the backside of Obama, backside of the new elections that's going on. We were like, ooh, let's get it in. And Chadwick was on a roll. Like I told Val, he had other movies, kind of like the new Denzel, so to speak. And so whatever he was in, people were going to, let me go check that out. And when Black Panther hit, Chris, like you said, man, it was like a new superhero. We had seen all these, superheroes that wasn't African Americans, but now we had our own African American. I'm particular to that because my nephew was in that movie in the first series, and before it even came out, I was telling Val I got an opportunity to see behind the scenes with him. Just send me little text messages like, man, look at me over here, man. Check this out. I'll come over here. And he was with these people and breaking the movie down. And when you got an opportunity to see that and you're sitting home and you're right before the pandemic, and you got a chance to get into this, and this black superhero comes out of nowhere. Well, everybody was like, whoa, wait a minute. We done seen Batman, Robin, Spider-Man, all that. We ain't seen nobody that was representing what we trying to do. You know what I'm saying? If we ain't seen anybody that was breaking in the hood and going doing this and that. Let me check out what this brother doing. And when he dropped Black Panther, it was a phenomenon because he did it in a way that he took African American people back to Africa, and he took it back to the tribal. He took it back to the situation we can see in our head, that we see in our everyday lives, whether you're in the city, suburbs, or down south. And I thought he connected with a home run, pitcher served up a change up, and I knocked it out the park. I told Val the only thing about it, Chris, was the difference was between Black Panther 1 and 2, there was so much time in between. I wish they would have came out with it a little sooner, but the pandemic pushed a few things off. And then when Angela Bassett, and the strike, and so when Angela Bassett came back, it was kind of like you said a moment ago, Chris. The connection was supposed to be a farewell funeral or farewell homegoing, as we call it, to Chadwick. And I told Val the other day, I thought they wrote that so much and so long. By the time Angela got a chance to get into the movie and entrench herself into what was actually going on, the audience wasn't seeing that because it was more of a homegoing movie. But Chadwick, then they had to reconnect. So that was my opinion. I thought good movie, but part 1 was better.
Yeah, well, part one was always going to be considered better. This is a scene, I think, from one of the Avengers films, and this is Chris Evans in his role of Captain America, and this is T'Challa. I want to make sure I pronounce his character's name right, the Black Panther. The one thing that I notice usually when Marvel opens up with any of their movies, they open with the animation of the name Marvel. You see something that happens. Now, with Wakanda Forever, that particular opening, and I want to make sure I don't get emotional when I thought about this, you had Shuri. I always make sure. Chris, help me out. It's Siri.
It's Shuri.
Shuri. Thank you. So she's fighting for her brother's life, and then eventually you see Angela Bassett's character come in as the queen, letting them know that he didn't make it, and she's looking like she wanted to beat herself up. But if I remember being in the theater, Chris and Tony, you couldn't hear a pin drop. They did the full animation. All the images are Chadwick, and you see it come into view, and it says Marvel Studios, but you see everything. Nation is all Chadwick, and I thought it was done so classy because I was thinking this sets up the mood for the rest of the film. Now, Chadwick's here. Now Chadwick's is not with us anymore, but we have Mackie, and I think in order for folks to, I guess, I want to say feel something or vibe with Mackie as the Captain America, is they either you educate yourself on parts of the MCU, forgive some of the hiccups that happened throughout the film because the strike, the pandemic, so many things affected this, recast, reshoots. When all of those things were explained to me, I now understand. And I'm wondering, was it the same director, Chris, throughout this entire up and down with?
Yeah, but I thought Michael B. Jordan did a better job on the backside of that, though. I did. I thought Michael B. Jordan, coming in part 2 of the Panther, he stood out more than Mackie did, and this comes to America. I thought that, when you look at that Michael B. Jordan, I thought the continuation of where he was sitting at in Black Panther, and then, Angela Bassett, mom said, I just thought that the continuation of that movie in Black Panther was a great continuation because it attached itself, sent someone home, but it attached itself, and it kept the whole everything going. And I was able to be a part of that movie and be able to see the continuation, as opposed to what Chris just said a moment ago. Marvel tried to put multiple pieces together that the average person who doesn't follow this series, if I'm following right, Chris, the average person who doesn't follow the series wouldn't pick up on it because they would say like, oh man, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. But the average person like yourself who's entrenched into that Marvel series, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. And they were able to chop it apart.
Yeah, I think that's where most of the discourse for this movie is coming from. I think when they keep talking about superhero fatigue, I don't think they're talking about superhero fatigue. It's like it was when I went to college. College was fun until it became work, and then when it became work, I didn't like college anymore. So a lot of these movies, unfortunately, have a lot of homework that comes with it. Like there are some scenes in this movie that's going to be in the Thunderbolts movie because one of the members of the Thunderbolts was the former Captain America that when Sam didn't want to take the shield in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they gave it to another white dude. And it ended up horrible for that white dude, and he got fired from the position of Captain America. He got drafted by the leader of the CIA, Val, which is played by Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and she has been like the anti-Nick Fury, collecting all of these anti-heroes into their own super team, which shows up in May of this year.
And that's the Thunderbolts. So I say that if you are a fan of the MCU and you have Disney Plus, that's the other key. If you have Disney Plus, I say do like my friend Princess. She did like a whole Tony and Chris. She did like a whole movie day, and they watched the movies in order to kind of connect those things. And then, of
I
course,
told you I just did that this weekend.
Yeah, you watch things, stuff like that. But I am going to see the Eternals. I am going to watch that so I can understand the hand that I saw in the ocean in the movie. And then I would like to check out Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I'd love to see the whole Bucky title or the storyline resolved. I need to see that resolved, but it doesn't make sense if you haven't seen some of these pieces in other films and other series, because Plus is making a killing, especially for us that don't understand or know all of that. And I think here's the thing: we have another one that's in the MCU that's hitting theaters. Daredevil is coming out. It comes out on March 4th. Thanks for that, Mr. Springer. And then also just to mention on the money side of things, with the director, his name is Julius Onaya. He directed this of Captain America: Brave New World. This weekend it made 28 million. And I think that's what Mr. Springer put in the chat. But it has done a box office gross worldwide close to 300 million. The good thing is the movie was made for 180. It's made its money back worldwide. So that's a good thing. And of course, Chris says if you were to watch the MCU movies series back to back, the total runtime is 115 hours and 1 minute. Wow.
I won't be sleeping unless you got me a big ass bowl of popcorn.
Oh, and also, Val, while you were going through the totals, so I've seen a lot of discourse over the comparison of Anthony Mackie's movie to the Marvels, which, as you already stated, it's already almost made its budget back. The Marvels, unfortunately, made $199 million globally, which is the lowest grossing film ever in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and needed to make over $450 million just to break even.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing on that. So I'm going to give you one, Chris. And go ahead, Val.
No. And I was just wrapping up. So with this, Chris, ultimately, would you recommend Captain America Brave New World to fans of the MCU universe?
If you work from home and need something in the background while you are doing Excel spreadsheets, number one, this movie is the number one movie on the box office charts. It's
So put your spreadsheet. Now, if your boss asks your ass why column D and column E don't calculate, don't come back and say, "Well, Chris told me to watch this movie."
right.
We're gonna be like, for promotional purposes only.
Only, thank you. So,
one
Chris,
one other point that I wanted to make to Tony specifically. As I was telling Val, and you get a lot of people who make these complaints that the MCU is dead. The MCU is dead. I say the MCU is not dead. It's just suffering from Michael Jackson disease.
Right.
And
I just told Chris, I just told Val before you came on, that I was talking about this stuff, and I'm like, I'm not in the Marvel. And my son was like, man, Dad, hold up. Because all the kids are smack dead on. They watching this, and it's great. Now, not talking about the Marvel, not to give you a boomerang, but let you and Val know there's a series on Netflix right now that you got to check out if you haven't, with Robert De Niro called 0 Day. For now.
okay.
Check it out. 0 Day. It's about your boy basically Biden and Kamala Harris with Angela Bassett. Let's check it out. But
Okay.
Chris, going back to what you're talking about, the Marvel series and situation, you are 100% right. I think going back to the one that you talked about, Chris, that was during the middle of the pandemic, I think that because of the situation of the United States, what was going on in our country and what was happening, they had to reach back. I think maybe if that wasn't happening and that series would have hit the theaters like Val was talking about, and people were still able to go out to the movie theaters, I think the new series right here that just came out would have been a completely different, and maybe they'd have grossed their money.
Yeah, but that's true. But I think Marvel is suffering from, look, Marvel's Thriller was Endgame. There's no way you could top that. It's just like I wish somebody was in Mike's ear. Look, Michael, you can't top Thriller. Thriller is what it is. There's no going above that. So they need to start making movies like that and stop trying to top themselves with Endgame.
Purple Rain was Purple Rain. You ain't gonna knock out Purple Rain.
Right, exactly. It was a confluence of stuff that happened to reason why Endgame blew up the way it did. That's 20 years worth of film documentation that built up to that. It's the reason why Universal Studios Monsterverse failed. It's why DCU failed, is because they just wanted everything just then. Like, hey, we're just gonna put out this movie and people are gonna come see it. Well, if they don't know the characters and they don't have an attachment to any of the characters,
exactly,
20 years that Marvel did, why bother to show up?
And that's what I was telling Val. That's exactly what I was telling Val. If you're not attached to it, you're not plugged in with it, and we just come off of it, I'm not gonna really go watch that. And then most of the people, Chris, they're coming from a Black superhero. Now you got to give me the change, and then what's going on with the temperature in the country? It's difficult.
So very quickly, Chris, Kevin asked this question. Can you tell us the end credit scenes is setting us up for? And this is for Captain America: Brave New World.
So I've just put that in the chat, but what that is a setup for two separate films that they brought Robert Downey Jr. back for, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So this is supposed to be the button cap for all of this multiverse stuff that they've been trying to do for the past two phases. Now, what also a rumor has been heard is that they are going to bring back a certain Jonathan Majors to reprise his role as Kang, just to put a bow on it, because hey, he got acquitted. He's not guilty anymore. He's dating no girl.
The glove don't fit. You must have quit.
Because I heard he did a great job last year as the villain. He played a great villain. I think this was Ant-Man.
It was the name of the villain was Kang, but yes, he was last seen in Ant-Man Quantumania, which was not also one of Marvel's best movies. The CGI stunk, but we all know the reason on why it stunk is because Marvel be overworking their FX crew to death.
Right, man, pay me. I mean, I ain't
Oh.
working it. I'm FX to get FX paid.
So currently, guys, this is, as we wrap things up, Captain America Brave New World. It's available. It is in theaters right now. Please stay till the end of the end credits so you can see that last scene. So you could be, so that you know that's a setup for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And they're going to be bringing back the Iron Man, reprising Iron Man. He'll be doing a totally separate character, which will be
Right.
interesting
He'll be
to
doing
see.
a totally different character. It's not going to be Iron Man. It's going to be Doctor Doom. And there's, again, if I explain to you the comic book shenanigans, you'll be in a so
yeah,
get ready.
Yeah. No, get ready.
That's dope. That man, Chris, man, you got to come
So
back on here and break this down. Oh yeah, my girl.
Yeah, so we want to make sure we wrap this up. Roberta Flack, one of the talented singer-songwriters of our time.
Icon.
Unfortunately, our icon. She passed away, unfortunately, literally on yesterday at age 88. And also the classics, Killing Me Softly, Tonight I Celebrate My Love for You, Back Together Again. These are the songs of my childhood. My mother told me that she was pregnant with me and she hated the song Killing Me Softly because she got morning sickness. I don't know.
Right, like Val, get the hell out of me. Yeah, you know, we talked about that this morning, and Chris, I don't know how much you tied into it, Val and I DJ. I am my auntie, I'm from Chicago, by the way, and they had a close tie to Minnie Rippleton, which is my Aunt Paula's best friend, and Roberta Flack. And Killing Me Softly was a phenomenal song, but I don't think that it had the opportunity to really go get what it had to get until the Fugees redid it 20 years later. And when the Fugees dropped that Killing Me Softly, it was ridiculous. And they put it in a hip hop genre. And at that point, the song lived in infamy. And for Roberta Flack, I was telling Val that the new guitarist or the new lead artist with Stephen Colbert on the Tonight Show started 10 or 12 years ago because his mother had a connection to the drummer or the guitar player. And Roberta Flack allowed him or helped him get his musical career off the ground. So she was still heavily involved, very much so. And if you're not a 1970s R&B lover, shame on you. Go back and listen to a lot of what she did. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, and she had a song that Stevie Wonder wrote for her called "I Her." And she did. She loved working with Donny Hathaway, Bo Bryson, other singers, and then
Roberta
one of
Flack.
her. Yeah. What about Roberta Flack?
No, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So I was just really touched that her music reminds me of my mom because now that I see the age, they were only less than a year apart. My mother was born in 36. She was born in 37. She was a teacher, and I found this out. She was the youngest to attend Howard University at age 15, and she taught
I didn't know
school. She taught not high school. She taught school music, and then at night she would sing in cabarets and nightclubs to get her music out there. So Roberta Flack.
That's what we do.
Classic.
That's what we do. That's what we. I told one of the PWIs today. That's what we do. That's the difference between being black and being on the other side of the track. When things go wrong on this side of the track, 99.9% we've seen it, heard it, or been through it, and they haven't. And this is the difference. While we able to cope with things so well. So Roberta Flack, I love it. Chris, I'm a DJ. I love house music, old school R&B. I spent a lot of Roberta Flack, People Bryson, and she's going to be missed. But I just like the fact of the matter. And I think, Val, if I'm not wrong, they were getting ready to give her a star on the Wall of Fame, a Walk of Fame, and all that, and the NAACP Image Awards. So to have all this come about around the same time is just amazing for her.
Yeah. We want to thank Chris Collier for joining us on tonight to kind of break things down for
So,
Captain America. Major, major kudos. So, of course, we're working on a podcast called Blessed and Highly Nerdy. That's our logo. I love our logo because I love the little dove that's flying. I don't know what's happening, but it's a cute logo. Thanks, Chris. If you haven't done so, get a DJ Save My Life. You can scan the QR code, which will take you to our website, purelightHousemedia.com. It is the memoir and also the ABCs of starting your own podcast. Please go ahead and do that. And then, of course, the Pull Up Podcast Show returns live March 10th. We're booking guests right now, and of course, selling our sponsorship spots. If you want to get some more information, of course, Kevin Springer giving thanks to Chris for the expertise in Marvel and joining us on tonight. Thank you so very much for that. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. And of course, what we got going on, KeySpot, our affiliate sponsor, connect, share, and grow your small business. Go to keyspot.app.com and then sign up on the KeySpot app for your small business to be recognized. And of course, Patreon.
I'm not gonna let you get out here like that, Val. I don't mean to cut you off. You got to go back to Key Spot, and you got to really tell people, because you got an opportunity to sit there and kick it with her this weekend. So come on now, that's one of our
Coach,
key
when
spots.
you weren't here at the beginning, you missed all of that. And I am trying to wrap the show as we are inching toward 90 minutes. I love you. Okay, so now we're wrapping up another Talk on Tuesdays. Thank you so very much, Mr. Springer, for putting that information about the book. And of course, join us on next week. We'll be back same. I want to say same bat time, same bat channel, but that's DC. That's the wrong. I'm sorry. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and share. Thank you so much. And of course, we thank you all. We are almost at 2,400 subscribers. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Thank you so very much. And on behalf of myself, Chris, and Coach Tony, we are out of here. Peace.